Milan. Big city, fashion center, busy streets, large buildings, a forest. What was that?
We are building a forest in the city.
In fact, 1 hectare of forest in the form of 2 towers called Bosco Verticale.
I think the first reaction was I was completely crazy because the idea to have 20,000 plants in 2 towers was considered a madness, a completely crazy idea.
But there is a method behind the madness. Milan is one of Europe's most polluted cities and is definitely not at one with nature. Stefano Boeri and his team hope to change all that.
Trees work like a filter in order to create a microclimate. Trees are absorbing urban dust and trees are producing oxygen.
But it's no easy feat creating a vertical forest. Trees are used to having their roots planted firmly in the ground. Transplanting them from their comfortable home in the nursery to the big towers in the sky is the most critical step. In fact, it's downright dangerous for the trees. They need to avoid what they call a transplant crisis. Today, another one of the more than 700 trees is making its grueling trip up into the sky. Stefano Boeri is an architect. He lives in a big city, but his heart beats green.
I've been always worried by wrong relation between city, agriculture and nature. So I think that what we have to do now is to imagine a new kind of growth for our cities.
He wants to bring the suburbs with its trees and gardens into the heart of the city.
The idea is to have in the center of Milano, in the center of a hyperdense city, the equivalent of 1 hectare of forest. So to have a building which is in itself totally oriented to sustainability, but which use a vegetable facade, a biological facade, instead of glass.
It's taken a collection of architects, engineers, and botanists all working together.
It's been a challenging work because, I'm a structural engineer, and in this particular project, I didn't have only to deal with proper structure, but also with the trees. The trees are transferring loads to the structure because they are taking wind in some way, and they are transferring wind to the structure.
They tested the stability of the trees in wind tunnels.
All the trees are on the terraces, which are typically places where you don't want to have big loads, but that's the best place for them to live. So in some way we had to design a very efficient structure, providing enough strength for the trees.
At the tree nursery, a team of botanists had to carefully select the kind of vegetation that would be brought in. The properties of the wood, the size and form of the branching are crucial. They need to know what kind of rooting space and climate conditions the tree needs.
We selected some trees that could survive in this situation, and then we choose this kind of trees in the nursery and put here 2 years in advance to be sure they are perfectly grown and safe for the future. So you could see this way of cultivation. This has holes, and these holes, through these holes, the air pass and keep the root very oxygenated, and the roots grows very well. The roots ball is full of finest roots, so we could thrive, so these trees could survive the transplant crisis.
Time now to test that theory. The buildings are ready for their new live green occupants. It's time to uproot the giant plants and move them one by one to their new home. Today, number 513 gets its transplant. A special wrap will protect the root ball.
All of those operations, it's difficult because the trees is an element that it's full of life. So, and it's very difficult to touch, to move. That is the much more problematic period for the trees. So it's receive a sort of shock from the nursery to the buildings. And you have to control all of the passages to maintain the trees in a much more correct situation for him.
At the towers, the tree is in for even more of a shock. A giant crane lifts it stories high to get it to its new perch.
The building is completely static. It's a big tank that must receive something that is completely green and full of life. It's a very difficult process.
When I've seen the first trees coming up, I was extremely nervous.
5 stories up, engineers on the balcony work to secure the tree. Finally, the tree is safe, and there are sighs of relief.
Yes, now I'm fine. So as you've seen, it's not a simple process. It's a process in which we have to take care of trees and safety of workers. But now I'm fine, and now it's time to take care of the trees.
They hold the tree in place with a meter's worth of specially designed and tested soil.
Is a mix of soil, organic compounds and pomics, keeping the root very aerated and to give all the well conditioned to grow to the trees.
There's still hundreds of balconies to fill and hundreds more delicate tree transplants to come. But for Stefano, his biological buildings are another step closer to coming to life.
I really hope that these 2 buildings could become the landmark of the new Milano.